So how did you start doing this? Like why did this become one of your business strategies?
Such a good question. So I was serving private clients and I was averaging 52 projects for 19 clients. And it was amazing, and I had a team supporting me. And I asked my project manager, I was like, hey, I think I want to start like scheduling time off because we know when the client projects are happening, and we had a good system around that. And I was like, I think I'm going to take like every other Friday off, or I don't know. I came with the worst plan. And she was like, no, Sage. Kim Cloak at my time was my project manager. She's like, no, girl, you should take 1 week off every month and have it be the last week of the month. And I was like, oh, I like this. A system. Of course, she thinks that way.
Yeah.
And so I decided to take that time off. And then I take 1 month off every year, and it totals to being 4 months. So that's how I landed where I'm at now. And honestly, like there have been times when I broke my own rule. Like I said, I was going to take a week off and something broke in the business and I needed to, or, a client's launch got extended. These things happen. And I found that having a plan in advance is the thing that gets you to commit. Okay. Totally sit down and mark it off on your calendar now, like birthdays, holidays, government days. Like if you're in Canada, I think they call them stat days. Like figure out when you're going to take that time off now, because if you schedule it in advance, that is where the magic happens. Like you're more likely to commit to it. And I always laugh to myself, like we get to holidays that just happen, like Memorial Day, and it's like, well, I'm an entrepreneur, so there are no days off. But that's not true. Like if you want them and you commit to them, take it. With the clients, they don't really feel that I'm gone when I take time off, because whenever we start a project, we have like, these are the dates that I'm available for the calls. These are the dates that you're going to receive things from me. So I think laying all those things out in the beginning and then having your team prepared with things, uphold the communication so they don't feel like I wouldn't announce to them that you take all this time off.
I'm curious, Sage, how do you do this without like putting your time in? Because I feel like whenever my husband takes off work, like he ends up paying the price the day before. Like staying really late and like working himself to the grounds. And then we go on family vacation. I'm like, was that even worth it?
Yeah, well, having really strong systems around when you deliver things to clients, because I know copywriters like Mary Lee, who's here, as copywriters, we tend to like send them our first draft of the copy and try to like hope they don't get back to us right away. We're like, send the draft and then disappear, and hopefully they won't, like they'll give me time to catch up on all the other things I'm working on. But instead with my clients, I do like stage-based waterfall system where it's like, we're working on this piece of the project on these days, and once that's approved, we're not going back to it. We're going to the next thing. So 3 meetings and 2 revisions per stage of business is how I organize it. That way I know when everything's happening, but it also makes your client feel really safe about the investment with you because they know exactly when things are happening. And the other thing I will say about like, even the example with your husband where he's like paying a price for wanting to take time off, is really there's like these invisible money leaks that are kind of crushing your business growth, because when you commit to starting a VA business or a copywriting business, you're like, I just want to do the thing that I know I'm good at, right? Like I'm a copywriter, I just want to write for my clients. But the truth is there's all these other roles you're playing that you may not be aware of. So you're also project manager, you're also doing your social media promotion, you're also doing the invoicing. So I would start to, and I encourage Mary Lee to do this, and anybody else who's listening, like write down the list of all of the roles you're actually playing in your business, because then you'll start to realize, oh, there are some things that I need to outsource so you don't feel the weight of taking time off because there's other people supporting you. So currently my team, I'm 9 years deep into my business, so it's a different story now than when I first started. But I will say my very first hire, and this is why I love your group, Emily, is a VA, right? I think actually right before that I hired a bookkeeper because I couldn't handle the bookkeeping situation. But like I really encourage people, even if for me it was like 5 hours a month and I paid like I think, or no, it was 6 hours a month. I paid $15 an hour to a local woman who lives near me, and I paid her $80 a month, and that's what I could afford, and that's how I started. You know, and now like I have a full-time team member, and that's a whole different story. Actually, you introduced me to her through this group, Emily.
Yeah, she's watching too. Erin just said hello.
Hi, Erin. Speak of Erin, and then she appears. It's magic. Identifying all those roles, because when you sign up to be one thing, like a copywriter, and then you find out, oh, you actually have to do all these other things, it's really important to sit down and acknowledge everything you're doing. If you want to go deep, doing like a time diary, I don't know if you talk to your community about using tools like Toggle, where you can actually sit down and write down what each, just for a week, like commit to doing it for a week and write down what task you're doing and for how long. Those little things really help you realize how hard you're actually working at your business outside of the thing that you're most gifted at. And so when you start to identify those things, you need to start thinking about outsourcing them and starting small. Like I don't want you to get like a binge hiring spree and feel overwhelmed by it. But yeah, for me, it was the bookkeeper and the VA. Like just having those roles in my business was huge. And I would even argue like the VA needs a VA.
Yeah, it's true. It's so funny because we know like everyone here in this group can do a lot of things. That's why they are here. But when you are owning your own business, you very quickly get too many tasks on your plate. And the first thing I outsourced was invoicing as well. That would take me a solid day for all my monthly client work. I would be up way too late. And my teammate took that over, the first thing off my plate, because it wasn't helping me. It was stressing me out. Like I like numbers, but it was just too much time not doing the thing I'm good at, you know, that brings in money. So, but so quickly, like I think as service providers, like we have no problem like seeing that in other people's businesses and like knowing where to step up. And then in our own, we kind of forget like, oh yeah, someone can help me do this too. Like I don't have to be a martyr.